Hi everyone, today is Sunday 19 of August 2018. I'm Joji and this is my knitting journal. I'm recording from Buenos Aires in Argentina. This is journal number 21. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Here today it's Children's Day, so we got some presents for my children and I just made some brownies for them, and I'm a very bad mother because again I asked them to be a bit quiet on Children's Day so that I could record my journal. Thank you everyone who left a nice comment about Sebi's singing last episode 2 weeks ago. I wasn't sure if you guys could hear him or not, but apparently you could, so thank you for being sweet about that. It's been 2 weeks since I last recorded, and I have to be honest, I really didn't feel like recording last weekend. I think I was a bit lazy and I had been very busy with work and with crafts, and I just didn't want to stop what I was doing to come here and record and then edit the video, so I think I just missed 1 week. But yeah, hopefully you didn't miss it, and hopefully I can tell you everything that I've been up to today. I don't know if you noticed, but I got really tired with my bangs or my fringe after last week's recording, so I think I'm going to try to grow them to the side again. Today I was doing my hair color because I'm not young anymore, so I need to dye my hair, and when I had all my dye up and I combed my hair back, I thought, oh, I missed my clean face. So I think I'm going to grow my bangs out for a while and see if I miss them. I don't think you need to stick to a hairstyle. So I think I'm gonna grow them out. I'm using a bit of hairspray now so that I can just have them like this. We'll see what happens as I'm recording if I have to continuously touch my hair again like I usually do. Anyway, I've been knitting some, I've been sewing a lot, and I will tell you why when I get to sewing. This episode will be very heavy in the sewing section, but even if you don't care about sewing, maybe you want to stick around because it has to do with our knitting book interpretations, everything that I've been sewing, so maybe you want to stick around. And yeah, so I have 2 finished objects to show you. The first one is I finished my Indigo Leaves socks that I was knitting out of Mr. B's yarns with some stellina here. Let's see if I can make it shine. Well, it's difficult to see the sheen, but it's very subtle. I haven't blocked these yet, and they were actually very wrinkled in my drawer, so they don't look so nice. But I already shown you this pattern many times, so you know what these look like when stretched out. This pattern, I'm gonna mention it again, this pattern is written for sport or DK weight yarn, and I modified it to make them using fingering weight yarn. So this is fingering weight yarn, 60 stitches, and I've written all of those modifications in my project page on Ravelry, so you'll be able to find what I did and how to modify the pattern for a medium size in fingering weight. So that's that, and also this was with my mom's help. I don't know if you remember this project from many journals ago. So this is the olive colored kimono cardigan that I was working. I started this when I was still recording from the summer house. So I'm gonna say maybe 5 months ago I started this. It's been a long work in progress, and Mom helped me knit a lot of it, and then she made the first sleeve, and we were going to go. So she finished the first sleeve before we went to England, so that was in May, and then we came back home and I forgot about the project. She had to start the second sleeve. I usually pick up the sleeves, the stitches around the armhole, and give it to her so she can just knit straight. And I think I forgot, so I had the project bag with this sweater almost finished but missing a sleeve for months. And then last week I said, Mom, do you want to help me with this sleeve? And she said, oh my goodness, we had both forgotten about this. So I haven't written the pattern for this yet. I'm gonna show it to you how it looks like. I'm sorry that my camera is so crappy, but it's what I have. It's my computer camera, and so far I'm happy with it. I have been thinking of upgrading to a better webcam, but so far it does the job. It makes it very quick for podcasting. So anyway, let's talk about the cardigan. This is a kimono style cardigan. It's unblocked. It's going to be a bit wider when it's finished. The sleeves are meant to be not snug at all, loose and square. I love it. This is something that I would wear all the time, and I'm happy we finished it because it's not a cardigan that I would probably wear when it's cold, because it's so open and because it has these roomy sleeves. But I think the winter's going away and we're starting to have brighter days again, so I can feel spring coming soon, and this is something that I would wear in spring all the time. So this is, again, this is not blocked. I expect it to look a lot neater, like more even, and a bit bigger, a bit looser, even if it's already very loose. And I'm super happy with it. It's a very basic garment that would go over my loose, comfortable clothes very nicely. This yarn is amazing. This is Woolfok collection Bliss. It's their organic, super fine merino yarn. I think it's organic super fine merino, and it's the colorway is called stained brass, and it's showing a brown or gray, but it's like a beautiful olivey green shade. Let's see if you can see. There you go. That's a better representation of the color. So this week I'll be writing up this pattern. I'm very eager to publish it because I have been working on this sweater for a long time, and it should have been published already, and I'm a bit delayed with most of my work. And then yeah, so those are my two finished projects. I'm very happy that I have 2 finished projects to show you this week, thanks to my mother. And yeah, so I have 2 new works in progress too. I have 3, but I can only show you 2 of them. So the first one, I just dropped my working yarn. Yes. So the first one is a new top-down circular yoke pullover. Okay, this is it. I'm super happy with this design and the way it's working out. I can't wait to see it develop a little bit more. So it starts with twisted ribbing for the neckband, and then it switches to regular ribbing, and then I added some of these, I'm calling them like bud stitch, but I'm not sure how they are called. I'm gonna call them bud stitch in my pattern just because I can. And then it evolved into these more complex interlocking, they are not really interlocked, but like branching out sort of design. And it's I'm using 4 colors of Madeline Tosh for this design that I have here. Okay, so the color that you just saw, whoops, oh my goodness, just a second, one of them wants to escape. Okay, the color you just saw is this one, the first one, and it's horn, and it's off-white with red and brown and black and gray speckles and gold. It's very autumnal. And the second color that I'm going to use, it's this one. It's called Gracenotes, and it's a pale gray with a lavender hint, and it's got this bright orange and blue speckles and fuchsia. It's brighter speckles than the first color. The third color, it's gray with green and gold speckles, and it's called, oh, just a sec, I have it somewhere. Oh my goodness, I lost my third color information. So it's something by Madeline Tosh, and I think the fourth one is Black Sea. I'm going to put the name of the third color in the show notes, which you can find on YouTube if you go to the bottom of the video. So the fourth one is also dark gray, and you can barely see the speckles, but they are there. You can see the green speckles and the brown speckles. So to me, these two are very similar. This is the lighter version of this one. And this is how they all look in a progression of color. So my initial design idea for this was going to be a color block jumper, because I thought, okay, I've been fading already a few designs, and maybe I don't want to fade them anymore. Maybe I want to do just plain stripes or blocks of colors. And then today, as I was adding my second color, as I was mixing these two, I thought, you know what, I really want to fade them. I really want to do a faded jumper because I don't have one. So I thought, why not? I'm just gonna go ahead and fade them, even if I've been doing it already with a few designs. I'm just gonna do a faded pullover, and I'm going to super enjoy it. So the body of the sweater, so basically the complex patterning, it's over. The rest of the sweater is going to be simpler without charts, but I want to use this rib pattern here. So if you look at it from the right side, it's purl 5, knit 1, and I want to make the sweater with that pattern throughout because I really like it. But I thought, oh, it's going to be a lot of purling and not a lot of knitting if I work it just like that. So what I think I'm going to do is soon I will be done with my yoke, with my circular yoke, right? So soon I'll be ready in just maybe like half an inch or so. I'll be ready to divide my work, or maybe an inch. I'll be ready to divide my work into sleeves and body stitches. When I do that, I'm going to turn my knitting and I'm going to knit the sweater inside out. So, because I don't want to do that right now because it's going to look like an interruption on my knitting. So if I do it when I divide my work, then it's not a problem, it's continuous. So instead of having purl 5, knit 1, we're going to have knit 5 per 1, which is a lot more friendly, a lot friendlier to knit than purl 5, knit 1. And I'm going to fade all these colors throughout the sweater and throughout the sleeves, and I think I'm gonna wear this a lot. It's not going to be a boxy design, but it's not going to be super tight. It's going to be just standard fitting pullover, which I can't wear so much over dresses. So this is going to be something that I probably will wear with jeans or with trousers, or I don't wear anything other than jeans, so probably jeans. And yeah, I'm using 3.25 millimeter needles, and I use 2.75 for the neckband, just because I think that lately I've been enjoying those designs that have a bit more structure. I like the looser gauge for the boxy pullovers, but for tighter fitting clothes, I think we need a bit more structure, especially with single ply yarn. So I went down a bit in my needle size. So yeah, that's one of my newer designs. And then I started another piece, another sweater. This one is on straight needles and it's chunky. So when I was working on the yoke for this new pullover, I felt that I also needed to have an easier, simpler design that I could work on while watching TV with Charlie, or while watching podcasts, or just when I need to take a break from anything too engaging and I want to just move my hands and do something without having to pay a lot of attention. Sewing has been taking a lot of my energy, and you have to be so aware of everything that you're doing the whole time. Everything's so detailed with sewing, you don't have a break. So I was looking forward to simpler times. So I decided to make a garter stitch boxy pullover. I'm using this amazing yarn by Woolfok. This is Woolfok Luft. And it's a super interesting yarn because you probably saw this before, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. It has this core made out of cotton that it's like an I-cord, the white part. It's like an I-cord of white cotton, and then sort of like mixed in or like blended in, you have the black merino wool. So this cotton merino blend, I think it's a 50-50, 55% ultimate merino, which is super fine merino yarn coming from here in Argentina, in Patagonia, and then 45% organic Pima cotton. And the skeins are 50 gram skeins, so it's like half a regular skein, and the put up is 109 yards. But this jumper is eating yarn like crazy, so I finished a skein in an afternoon. So this is the yarn. I'm really loving it, and I decided also to make it a bit more structured than I usually do. So probably I could have knitted this jumper with 6 or even 7 millimeter needles, but I'm knitting it with 5s 5 millimeter, not 5 US. It's US 8. Just because I want to have the squish factor of garter stitch. So this will have a drop shoulder, again, because I love it. Who doesn't? Well, some people don't, but I do. So it will have a drop shoulder, and then comfortable sleeve, not too fitted, and then it will have 2 flaps. So it's going to be divided into a front and a back piece, and I think I'm going to add a button, like sort of like lemongrass design, if you made that. The difference is that this is not a raglan sleeve, and it's just garter stitch goodness. So this is coming soon. Well, not really soon. This is coming sometime. And that's it for my works in progress. I haven't been working on my coffee talk socks that I talked about last week. I'm a terrible test knitter. I think I got really distracted with sewing and other things that were going on, and I was finding the textured band in the front of the sock that I couldn't remember it, so I haven't been working on that. And Tracy already published the pattern. I feel super guilty about that. I've apologized 1,000 times about it, but I think that yeah, some test knitters were really fast with that. So in case you want to check it out, the socks that I was working on last week, no, 2 weeks ago, they are called the Coffee Talk socks. They are by Tracy from the Grocery Girls, and they are up on Ravelry on sale already. For sale. And yeah, so I think that's it for my my works. I have big news though. Every year I host a big knit along in my Ravelry group. It's a massive event, or it has been in the past. I don't know if we will have so many knitters as we did in the past few years, because I haven't been so active in my Ravelry forum these past 2 years, but it's a really beautiful event, and this will be, I think this will be our 8th year doing a Joji Fall Knit Along. So I wanted to talk to you about what we do and how we do it and what it's been like during the last 7 years. Shortly after I published my first designs, I met someone really encouraging. My friend Vero, she was suggesting that I should have a Ravelry group, and so that people could come with questions. And yes, so I decided to open up a Ravelry group. That was back in 2011, and I wasn't sure who would join. People started joining in, and it was really fun, and people would come with questions about the patterns, and they would share what they were doing. And then I think that it was, people were suggesting we would do something for the fall because they wanted to get some sweaters ready, and towards September, with help of my friend Vero, we put together the first Joji Knit Along. And then I think it was my friend, now my good friend Nash, who offered herself to help with the organization. She is awesome. She was really into herding groups of people. We were not that many, but it surprised me because I think probably there were like 100 people who joined back then in my first year. And Nash was really good at cheering people up and organizing them into groups, and we had prizes, drawings, and we at the time we had contests. So we would have contests as like the nicest, the most beautiful project, the most beautiful picture. But then as years went by, we started having too many participants, and it was very difficult to judge which was the nicest photo and stuff like that. So every year I feel like the Joji Fall Knit Along evolves. Every year I get offered beautiful prizes from friends who make things, and we are able to draw those prizes among the participants. And so far we have never had anyone having a bad experience in the knit along. We haven't had anyone making a nasty comment, or I don't know why it happened, but you know how in some groups there are people who maybe look for trouble, or they don't have the best intentions. Well, in a group every year we always have like the best people coming, and everyone has fun, and we don't have any rules. We just ask people to comment and show photos, and you know, bring in the good mood. And sometimes my friend Vero is really good at this, so she will pick a YouTube video from a song she likes, and she would post that, and we talk about many things. So this year we're doing it again. Last year I think I was very tired, and I thought of not doing it, and everyone was super disappointed, and everyone wanted to take part again in the conversations. So I'm making it happen. I think I will also miss it if I don't do it one year. So here we go again, September 1st. It's the kickoff date for the Joji Fall Knit Along. This knit along is an any pattern counts knit along, as long as it's one of my patterns. You can choose any patterns that you like, and it's open. It will last for almost 3 months. So you have up to 3 months to finish your projects. There's no punishment if you don't finish your projects. We will have prizes drawn among those who do finish their projects and who post a photo in every finished object thread. And then, yeah, no rules. You can change the patterns, you can mix them up, you can do what you like. You can participate in other knit-alongs too. We are not exclusive. Just the only rule is that you have to post a photo of your finished object to be eligible for a prize. And we ask that you start the project after September 1st. Because I feel that I get so much benefit out of the knit along every year, I like to offer people a discount if they want to buy a new patterns. So since last Friday and until the beginning of August, any patterns that you like from my Ravelry shop are 25% off if you use the code with capitals JFK, which doesn't stand for Kennedy, it stands for Joji Fall Knit Along. So JFK, it's the code, and it's valid only for all of the patterns, so basically all of my patterns, except for those patterns that have been published by other companies. So my designs published by Brooklyn Tweed, they are now sold by Brooklyn Tweed, so you won't be able to apply the code to their shop. And same with patterns that are sold by Madeline Tosh, and the All the Love pattern, that's a charity pattern, so it's sold by a separate shop, and that pattern is not discounted because 100% of the profits from that pattern still go to an Argentine school. And yeah, so but everything else, even the individual patterns from Interpretations, not the ebook, even those are 25% off. until the end of the month. I don't do a lot of sales during the year, so I hope you can take advantage of this one, and I most especially hope that you can join us for Knit Along. I will be reporting what's going on here in the journal. I was thinking that I might do a couple of live Instagram broadcasts to actually knit along with everyone else. I think that could be a nice idea that would help me come closer to everyone. And yeah, so that's the biggest news for this week. And this is all happening in my Ravelry group. Again, just in case that wasn't sure, my Ravelry group, it's Designs by Joji, and if you've never participated, it's super fun. I encourage you to go to Ravelry and take part in the forums, because it's a lot easier to engage in conversation, I feel, that rather than Instagram. Many times on Instagram, it's hard to participate in a group conversation. It's hard to keep track of who was talking about what or where, on whose photos the conversation is happening, right? In Ravelry, everything is gathered in one place. So you have the photos, the conversation, the tags. You can keep track of everything really nicely. And yes, I hope you can visit if you've never been to Ravelry. I hope you like the conversation there. So now on to sewing. I've been sewing a lot, and I've been I think about 10 or maybe less than 2 weeks ago, I finished my dress that I'm going to show you in a bit. And I thought, oh, this will be perfect to wear for one of the photos of our interpretations, or next interpretations book. Our next interpretations book is going to be photographed in Barcelona, when Vera and I are teaching at Barcelona Knits Festival. So after the festival, our friend Jonna, the editor of Line magazine, she's coming to meet us for some girls' trip, and she's also going to do the photos for this book, and we are super excited about having such a talented photographer helping us with a volume of interpretations. She's never photographed us before for the book. So I'm super excited and very nervous. I'm doing most of the production for the photo, so I am making all the arrangements with Jonna, and I'm booking us flights, and I found the makeup artist, and I'm the one who's thinking of the wardrobe for both of us, for Vera and I. So I thought, oh, this dress would be perfect for this shawl that I'm designing for the book. And I thought, why don't I just keep sewing more things that Vera and I can actually wear for the book? Because that will give me an excuse to feel that my sewing has to do with my actual work, and it will help me sew with a purpose. So I made some plans. I have quite a few things that I still want to sew. I sewed a lot of things already, and yes, I'm excited. I'm excited now that you will get to see these things that I've been making on the book, even if it sort of kills the surprise that I'm showing them to you today. When you see the book, please act surprised, as you haven't seen them before. I have sewn 5 garments already for the book, and I'm going to show 4 of them, and one of them I'm not going to show. I have been reflecting about this a lot, and I feel that it's very important for me to be honest here in the podcast, and also it's very important for me to be kind. I purchased a sewing pattern last week. This is a garment that Vera really liked. I was pinning sewing pattern photos in a mood board that Vera and I share on Pinterest, and she commented on this particular photo and she said, I really like this. So I thought, well, then I definitely have to make this pattern in particular, right? It has to be this one and not this other one. It's a shirt dress pattern. The designer is no one that I have talked about in my journal before. So I thought it would be a good idea to try their patterns for the first time to see what they are like, and I invested a lot of emotions in this project. I went out and bought a very specific fabric for Vera, black fabric, so it was difficult to sew, and then I had the pattern pieces printed at the print shop so that I would make sure that all of the pieces are properly scaled. And then I started cutting my pieces, and I wasn't very sure if I was cutting the pieces correctly. The pattern seems to be originally written in a different language and then translated into English. It's by an indie designer company, so I was hoping that it wouldn't be as difficult as it was for me to sew from Burda magazine, where you have very basic instructions. You don't have anything detailed. And this pattern was really terrible. It was really a horrible sewing experience. The translation was really bad. I could see that it was a problem in the translation. The instructions didn't make sense, and this I talked about it with some people. I didn't say what pattern I was making, and I'm glad I didn't mention it on Instagram because, okay, I'm gonna talk about that later, but you guys know that I've sewn from patterns from Japanese magazines just by looking at the drawings, and I have sewn from Burda, even if I found those instructions very ambiguous and very short. I could eventually manage to make something out of them. This pattern was really terrible, and I'm saying this because I know what effect it can have when I say that something is really good. I know that it will probably encourage people to go try something in a good way, right? So if I recommend something, I know people will go and say, oh, I'm gonna try it too and see what my experience is. And in the same manner, I understand what effect it can cause when I say that something is terrible and it's bad. And I really don't want to cause that to any companies. But I am saying that I had a terrible experience with a very bad pattern to let you know that everything that I show you, that it's not that project, it's very good. So this is to say that all of my reviews are going to be positive. You probably won't ever hear me say something bad about a brand or a pattern or a product. You probably won't hear me say anything bad, because I think that's very unkind to anyone's work, and I just don't want to be that person who gives anyone a bad review. But all of the good reviews that you will hear me talk about, they are honest. They are really coming from my heart. They are really coming from my hands, from my own good experiences. So I thought it was important to make this clarification that not everything that I find in my way is great. Having said that, let's move to the happy projects. The first project that I finished and that I showed you the beginning of last week or last journal is my Isca dress shirt. This is probably my favorite dress pattern to date. This is the second time I made a dress out of this pattern. The first one I showed it to you, it was in a pale gray, in a light shade of gray, and it looked like a chambray. This version is in a heavy weight crepe, black crepe, and it fits beautifully. I have worn it once. I haven't uploaded a model photo of this dress because I plan to wear this as one of the garments for our book, and I don't want to be dressed in something that you guys have seen before. So even though I have worn it once, I tried to wear all the garments once to a dinner or somewhere so that I can make sure that the fit is right even after moving around for an afternoon or an evening. So I like to wear my garments once to make sure that they are not just nice for the photo, and then I'm putting them away in their special place waiting for us to get our photos taken. This dress pattern, I cannot say enough good things about this. Marilla, with her instructions, she taught me how to make a dress, a shirt. So you're basically constructing a shirt with her instructions, and then you're just marrying a shirt with a skirt and turning that into a dress. I believe that these lines, it's a bit, I should do a better job pressing it there, but it's properly sewn. I just did a bad job sewing, pressing. The lines are beautiful. These diagonal lines are seams. The pattern is designed into two pieces, a top and a bottom piece that come together in a diagonal line. So you don't have to sew any darts because the shaping for the bust is built into this. It has a back, it has a yoke reinforcement here and here. Beautiful lines. As I mentioned last time I recorded, I'm now basting all my sleeves. So first, when I do a setting sleeve, first I pin them onto the bodies and then I baste them, I hand baste them, and then I machine sew them so I get these very even sleeves without any puckers. And yeah, so it has the beautiful pockets that I already showed you in the gray version. I made this version a lot shorter than the other one and a lot shorter than the pattern calls for, so I think I shortened this by 17 centimeters or 17-18 centimeters. That's 7 inches shorter than the pattern calls for, and the dress hits me right above my knee. It's not a mini dress, it's a good short length. It's a mom length, but it's not below the knee. And I think it's a bit, even though it's super comfortable, I don't need to wear leggings underneath with this length, but I feel that it's a bit more flattering, a bit less nun-looking than the longer version that I did before. So I'm considering cutting the gray dress a bit shorter, so maybe to match this length, which it feels a bit more right for me. I made size 5. I am a 36 short, 36 bust, maybe 35 and a half, and it fits roomy. I could definitely have made size 4, but I'm happy with size 5. I just made size 5 again because I had all my pattern pieces cut for size 5 and I didn't want to cut my pattern pieces, print my pattern again and cut my pattern pieces for a smaller size. I just didn't want to do that again, so it fits beautifully. I'm in love with this dress. It's the perfect dress. I will make more of this, even if Marilla feels I'm stalking her. She doesn't. She told me she doesn't. But yes, her instructions are amazing. You can't go wrong because you know what you're doing with her instructions. It's impeccable. So when I was done with Isca, I think I made that dress out of 2 meters of crepe and I had 3. So I had 1 meter left over and I wanted to do something quickly with the leftovers before I put them away and I have this pile of leftovers. So I bought this other pattern, which was also very, very great. I'm gonna tie it just a sec. And it was also a beautiful experience and I also learned a lot. So this great sexy top, it's the Jily top by Ready to Sew company. It's made out of the same fabric, but as you can see, I made a completely different style of garment. This top is made for Vera. She will be wearing this for one of her pieces. And this top is super great because it has an all-in-one facing, so it's hard for me to explain actually, but it's like the front and the back facing for the top are made at the same time with the top. It's kind of fiddly to figure out, especially if you haven't done it before. It took me a while to understand what I was doing, but the pattern had very good diagrams, so I did this in just one evening. I love the little tie in the bottom. This looks super sexy. It doesn't, Vera and I are not, we don't have great body shapes. Neither of us are supermodels. We don't have a bad body shape, but I think we're both very conscious of what we wear, and this looks very intimidating to wear because it's a cropped top, but I promise it fits so well, and it's not cropped that you can see any skin actually. You don't see your love handles or your belly button at all. It's just, it hits the top of your jeans here. And it's a bit boxy, so if you have anything coming out of your jeans like a muffin top, this actually really conceals it, so I think it's a great style. The designer in Ready to Sew, she's very beautiful and she styles her garments very nicely. But I went to Instagram and I followed the hashtag for Jily top, and I could see people of different shapes actually wearing this top also in such a flattering way that I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it a try, and I think it's great. I love the fact that I used the heavy crepe, so the top has body and it holds its boxy shape a bit better than if I had used something like silk or rayon. Probably it wouldn't stay as it stays now. As you can see, it holds its shape very nicely. Probably my first favorite thing is this cute bow here that you can untie, of course. like this, but you probably won't ever wear it like that, right? You're gonna tie it. But my favorite thing is how clean the V-neck looks without any bias binding, without any top stitching here. I think this looks very couture, maybe. I don't know. I'm very satisfied with this garment, and I hope Vera likes wearing it. There's a lot of sewing. I told you. I've been very, very busy, and I tell you, my back really let me know that it was sore. This is a new style of garment for me. I'm gonna tie the belt, just a sec. This is a pair of culottes that I made using a pattern by Pauline Alice. So these are the Botanic trousers, and they are made out of black linen. By the way, spoiler alert, as you can see, the theme of the book is black, white, and gray. So that's how our styling is going to go like. So I made these culottes. It's basically a skirt pant, so a skirt with legs. I was looking at different patterns, and people recommended a few, but I picked these ones because they had everything that I was looking for. So let's see if you can see them. The front is a flat front, so it has the pleats. Here it has two pleats on each side, and the back has an elasticated waist in the back. So you don't need to install any zippers. I'm not afraid of zippers, but I like the easiness of this pattern, that you didn't have to zip them up to pull them up, right? I made a few modifications. I made two of these actually. Oh my goodness, I had forgotten. I made two fully finished pairs of culottes. The first pair, they were too big for me, and I gifted them to my friend Ale, and she promised to have a photo taken in them, but she hasn't fulfilled her promise yet. And then I made the second version exactly like the first one, but with some modifications for my size. So I used a size 44 for the trousers pieces, because I wanted them to be very big here in the legs, so I made a bigger size than I need, and then I made the waistband in the front and the back for size 40. And I made the pleats a bit deeper, and I took it in here in the back a bit so the pieces would match. They are perfect. If you want, you can go to my Instagram page for sewing, Joji Sews, and you can see me there wearing these trousers. I'm gonna put them here. I love them. I wore them once for dinner with friends, and they didn't know that I had made my trousers, and everyone complimented my style. So I felt very beautiful in my handmade wardrobe, which is something I probably wouldn't have dreamed of last year. I'm having the best time. And lastly, I made this quick top that it's probably my favorite thing in the world. So there it is. This is again the Maya top. I made a different version of this top in yellow a couple of months ago. This is another pattern by Marilla Walker, and the version that I made in yellow, it was a closed, a plain front t-shirt with rounded hem here in the bottom, and this is the button down version with the straight hem. I used a beautiful fabric that I brought from England when I went to the Curious Handmade Retreat. My friend Julie took me to John Lewis in London, and I bought 1.5 meters of this cotton ikat fabric, and I had enough to make this top. I didn't have a lot left over, but I saved my leftovers because this is a really cute fabric and I might use them to, I don't know, make a project bag sometime. I just had a little square, so perhaps I need to mix it with black linen or something to go with it. But I'm really happy with this top. It's size 4. The pattern has some tricky areas, like there's top stitching here, as you can see, and I had to be very careful to make this is not wrinkled, this is just me ironing it wrong. Here there's some top stitching here too, there's some top stitching here too, so I had to be careful and patient doing that. I used some beautiful matte buttons that I brought from a visit to Church Mouse Fibers in Seattle, Washington, and I think they are perfect for my top. And the other thing is that this time when I went to the fabric district to get a fabric for Vera's garments, I found a different kind of interfacing. So this is like a woven interfacing, different to what I had been using before, and I really like the change. So I think it makes for a more delicate type of fabric, and that's what I use here for the facings. So yeah, this is another cute top that I will be wearing for our photos, and I love it and I'm super happy. I did finish the shirt dress for Vera out of the very bad instructions, and it's amazing, and I hope she really likes it. I'm going to gift that one to her for her birthday, which is coming in October, but I decided not to show it to you because actually what I made is not the actual representation of the pattern, it's something else. But I know that if I show it to you, some of you will recognize the pattern and will know what I'm talking about, so I think I should better not. Yes, and sewing plans. I asked today on Instagram what you guys think. One of the things I'm missing that I still have to sew for our shooting is a white culotte, similar in this, identical to the black one. And I was planning to use this white linen that I showed you a couple of episodes ago. It's super white, and even though it's not light, it is a bit sheer. It's not lightweight, it's not like shirting type, but you can see some through. So I was ironing it today, getting ready to cut my pieces, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is not going to work because people are going to see us underneath it. And so I thought, oh, I think I need to pick something else, different fabric. What do I pick? Do I pick a cotton twill? And I was a bit sad because my idea was for Vera to wear these white culottes with the black top. and some different styling things, and I was going to wear them with a white top and the belt to make it look like it's a dress. So I was like, oh, but that idea really worked. And then I wouldn't be able to make a top out of a heavier material, so the ensemble wouldn't be an ensemble properly, you know? I don't know if you know what I mean. And then people said, you know what, go ahead. You can wear nude color underwear, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and make them. I also got a message from Jonna saying I'll make it work. Jonna is the photographer. She said I'll make it work for you, don't worry. So I'm depending on her to Photoshop anything if it shows. So I think I'm gonna go for them. I think I'm gonna go for the white culottes, and we'll see what happens. But I'm excited because I've made this pattern already twice, so I basically know it by heart. It will be okay. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in again. Let me know what you think about all the things I've been making. I would love to read your comments here on YouTube or wherever you want to leave them. And please leave me a message because I love to read what you think. And most importantly, I hope you are inspired to join me for the Joji Fall Knit Along and get all your fall knitwear ready for the autumn. So hopefully see you next week. Bye!